Hello Harvard, I'm Jose Sereno. I'm a mooter. Primarily, I participated in the Red Cross International Humanitarian Law Moot Court competition, and it is a privilege to speak today on the particular topic of legal educational reform. Now, this is a topic that is dear to my heart. First of all, I think that all of us have experienced certain questions, certain yearnings to know the purpose, of the nobility of our profession. What do I mean by this? We all feel somehow unfairly criticized by the public when they say that, for example, lawyers twist the facts in order to benefit their client, or that lawyers are simply manipulators of logic in order to get what they want, and it's not really to ferret out the truth or to deal justice. So I personally would like to believe that the reform in legal education begins in law school in relation to corruption. What do I mean by this? I don't mean to say exactly bribery or other different forms of corruption, but primarily of your personal values. And this reflects in our relationships with our professors, for example, when we try to butter them up with certain presentations, throwing them parties or whatnot. I think that inculcates culture that makes us cater to whatever authority it is that we need a decision from, whose discretion is required to give something beneficial to us. Now, I think that is left to the determination of the individual student, but I would also like to see an institutional effort to remove these kinds of things, or at the very least minimize the long-term effects of making law students believe, and future lawyers believe, that they can get away with certain things as long as they take care of particular relationships. Now, on the second point, and this is more academic than anything, I'd also like to see some reform in teaching international law. Now, I do acknowledge that the trend right now has been to internationalize your law school curriculum. And in particular, in my experience, the different moot court competitions have already shown how powerful this trend is. However, I do not want this to run rampant, this kind of pattern in internationalizing things to run rampant, because you also have to balance the different interests. For example, domestic interests. If you teach international law, then you also have to recognize that there is a domestic perspective, which primarily respects sovereignty. So while I do enjoy the knowing that law schools are starting to adjust their curriculum, I would like them to take it in a more measured manner, to make these kinds of changes. Because if we ignore our domestic or our local education, and we just go and dive headfirst into an internationalized curriculum, then there will be problems, especially when lawyers all around the world normally become the leaders of their nations, become primary movers in policy and in legislation. So I think that an international perspective on education is necessary, but again, it must be measured. And as far as I can tell, that kind of reformation must come from curriculum revamp, and also a realization by the professors who teach that they have to take particular paradigms, take everything into context, and not just teach it per se as an intellectual curiosity. And especially with the real life effects, for example, with WTO, with its trade sanctions, with the ICJ, with the ICC, its powers to penalize someone with criminal liability, etc., etc. So I hope that contributed a little bit to this wonderful effort to engage the topic of international, or rather legal educational reform. Thank you very much.